Good morning, everybody. Something very disturbing is happening in Eastern Europe, and I've been saying for 3 months that Western nations should not be getting involved in the conflict in Ukraine. This would have been the easiest conflict to avoid back in February if everybody had stuck to the Minsk agreements and not tried to bring Ukraine into NATO and not arm Ukraine and train Ukrainian soldiers and support them in shelling ethnic Russians in the Donbass area, including funding and weaponizing National Socialist groups in Ukraine. We shouldn't have been doing that, and certainly we shouldn't be escalating the situation now, which is what most Western leaders are doing in their foolishness. But there has been an escalation in another part of Eastern Europe, which is related, obviously, to what's going on in Ukraine, and that is in Lithuania. And Lithuania has cut off access for Russia to deliver goods to the Kaliningrad enclave, which is nestled between Poland and Lithuania. The only land access for Russia from the main part of Russia to Kaliningrad is to transport goods through Belarus and through Lithuania to the enclave. This enclave used to be part of Germany before the Second World War. Of course, it was part of East Prussia. Kaliningrad used to be called Königsberg. Half of it was put into Poland after the Second World War, but half of it stayed as this enclave, which was given to the Russian Soviet state when the Soviet Union existed. So by an accident of history, this is now part of Russia. But for the last 30 years, since the fall of the Soviet Union, Lithuania has had an agreement with Russia that they will not stop or hinder Russia from delivering goods or whatever it wants to the Kaliningrad enclave by land. Obviously, Russia's got no problem in transporting goods through Belarus, because Belarus is essentially a puppet state of the Kremlin now, but Lithuania is very firmly in the West. It's in NATO, it's in the EU, but they've always had an agreement, a friendly gentleman's agreement. Well, it wasn't a gentleman's agreement, it was a treaty, I think, that they would let Russia deliver goods to Kaliningrad. They've just said this weekend they're not going to do that, and they've essentially put a blockade of Kaliningrad in place. This is utterly stupid and foolish, and it's escalating tensions between the West in general, the collective West, and Russia. So then there's no longer any pretense that this is just about some conflict in the east of Ukraine. Lithuania getting involved and blockading Russia from Kaliningrad is a deliberate hostile move outside Ukraine. And they wouldn't have been acting on their own, of course. This is not, Lithuania is not going to wake up in the morning and say, oh no, what we're going to do after 30 years is suddenly put a blockade of Kaliningrad in place. They would have been instructed to do this by people higher up in the global power, Western power pyramid. So either it would be someone in Washington or someone in London in the Council for Foreign Relations, or someone in the Pentagon, who knows, someone in NATO or someone in the EU, all together would have instructed Lithuania to do this, to poke the bear some more, which is utterly stupid and escalatory. We should not be escalating tensions. We should be de-escalating and trying to end this conflict, which should not have happened in the first place. So I am going to say, as the leader of a political party in the UK, end this, Lithuania, because you're not just affecting yourself, you are potentially dragging the whole of the world into a World War III conflict. Whoever has instructed you to do this, your actions are going to affect my country and every other country in the world if this escalates into a war between the West and Russia. And we mustn't have that happening. We need to de-escalate, to avoid World War III, not do anything to potentially cause World War III. So undo this blockade, please. Be sensible and don't start a world war.